know how to deal with things because we were taught all these things were taboo. And also, just how we sit back and listen to a conversation the other people have. Oh, he's crazy. She crazy. Oh, she going to a psychiatrist or mental health. So what happened with yourself? You say, well, I'm not ever going to nothing like that there. I'm not even going to mention nothing like that there.
Yeah.
And so, next thing you know, you going through things that you never thought you would be going through. And so this is what Stitch for Life is for. It's about to get people's to address these issues. Having a therapist there, doing crochet, learning how to drop down that guard, right, and to talk about and get to the essence of your situation. To be able to get the true help you need, we have to break down the body totally, and then you have to disassemblate your body and you reassemblate that body, right? And the way you do that, man, you got to, once you break it all of it down, you start stitching the pieces back together, and then you will come to terms, and your day will start looking a little bit brighter and better. And the way like I said, the way we do that, man, we have to really address these issues, man. Like I have met people who started doing drugs, right? And they call it social drinking, social pill popping, social powder the nose, right? And then next thing you know, they drug addicts now, right? They went from middle class, rich, to woke up one morning, they in the street, they homeless, they have nothing, right? And then you ask, you when you look at the situation, right? It wasn't that they had trauma. It wasn't that they grew up, that they didn't have anything. They had everything under the sun, right? The issue was, and the issue is that these individuals who that became hooked on these drugs, lost everything, they had a mental health problem, which they didn't know about. So now they're dealing with two demons. They're dealing with a mental health issue and an addiction problem. Right?
Yeah, and that's tricky right there.
And that's very tricky. That's very tricky.
They all look similar, and they all kind of like amplify each other out.
Right. So, and that's a class in itself that you have to deal with. Never mind. They ain't deal with no trauma. They ain't deal with any of that stuff, right? They didn't deal with being poor. They didn't deal with poverty. They haven't dealt with not going to school with food in their stomach. They ain't ever had to deal with what kind of textbooks their parents got to get them. They had to deal with none of that stuff. It's just that they had a void in their life. They didn't know what was going on, so they figured that fill that void is a little bit of sniff, a little bit of drink, and a little bit of pills. And that would solve that void for that day, that night, and then they back to square one. And it just get worse as days go on, weeks go on, months go on, and next thing you know, their families move away from them. The family don't want them around them. The family lose their wealth, they lose their husband, lose their kids, the vice versa, right? And they wake up like, what happened? And so that and all that, like I said, comes from mental health problem, and it's a shame that a lot of people don't see that, and they don't understand what is actually going on with them on that level, right? But then we deal with other individuals that's dealing with mental health issues and depression and all that stuff there, stress and all that stuff. They're dealing with these things from the bad food they eat and the bills, the traumas, being abused, been attacked, been bullied, been everything. All this stuff comes from negative behavior that other people force on you. The trauma aspect. The mental health aspect, people haven't forced that on you. That were just things that happen, and almost like being depressed. It's just something that rears its head. You don't know what's going on, right? It's like you don't know why you taking a little powder break. So until like I said, until you stumble upon someone who probably see your actions and movement and remind them of them, they give you the information and they put you on that journey.
So was it like that for you?
Of course, because I was family didn't want to answer the phone when I called, friends didn't want to come around me. Then when they come around me, it was always, yo, can you watch my back? Yo, can you do this? Can you help me with this? You know, I couldn't focus. You know, it was just bad, right? It was just a very dark place to be, and so you know, I just wanted to be me. I wanted to be the person I was when I first came to Massachusetts. That kid, that young man, that with the big smile, always smiling, happy, and always want to do for others, man. But you know, I lost all of that in the '80s, man. I lost that. I lost touch with that side because of the situation and how the street cookouts and the block parties and the kite festival and all these things had just, and not even a year had flip mode from the crack epidemic. So everything just changed after that.
Do you feel like it was a juxtaposition, like you had to either be a good kid or you got to be like a bad kid, like in terms of like how you said you grew up in Tallahassee, like it was kind of more southern hospitality, more nice, and coming up north, like in Massachusetts, being like the East Coast and more tough, like.
Yeah, so what you had to do, so what I had to do, like with me and my friends, like all the stuff that I seen as a young man and seen, you know, happen to other people, I'm like, yo, F this. I ain't letting nobody do this to my brothers, sisters, or any of my friends. So I turned it up. So, but I never disrespect my elders. I never did anything because it was embarrassing to me, to be truly honest, to act like a a-hole, right, was very embarrassing. And I'm like, the reason why I'm like, if my parents was to know what I'm doing, the shame I would bring up on them, right? Right. So what I did was like, and my friends, we only dealt with things that we need to deal with, right? If you was on that time, we're gonna be on that time, but we're not gonna bring our issues around anybody, right? And that's how, you know, I had to, you know, turn it up when it's time to, and not be myself when I the way I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You know, that's how you pretty much had to live. You know.
Word. So did that cause you any depression, like having to switch on
Yeah,
and
because
off? And...
yeah, because you like, damn, man, you know, it's like you know, you enjoying yourself 1 second, and next thing you know, you going through this. Cause it hits you even harder when you home by yourself, right? And when you in the house in your room, that's when it like hits you like bam, and all the thoughts, everything come flooded in. You like, what the fuck, right? And you being young, and the first thing you like, dang, I need a beer. So like, damn, motherfuckers, you know, everybody should drink that old gold, that old English. So if you go get you some old E, you got to get an adult to get it or something, right? And you get that old E just to go to sleep, man, to get out that state, right? To be able to make it through that night. And like, dude, it really sucked, man, because like, and I noticed it, like, I bring these things back to memory because I remember I used to take my friends and stuff, man. You know, we used to go to, I used to take them out of Mass, and we'll go out to Canton, all these other places, go fishing.
Yeah.
So we like little kids. Now, mind you, we like 14, we like 15 years old. We active, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, once we left Mass and we went out there and we went fishing, like, you would have swore we was like kids. We did everything kids done. We was going fishing, we was laughing, and you know, you had some of the one or two that took the fish and splashed it in the street. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, spit on fish splash. You don't splash the fish, boy. We cook the fish, right? So, but when we got back into Boston, right? I kid you not.
And you came back to like how
Just
they
the
were.
frowns just came on everybody's face.
Yeah.
Like everybody was just tensed up. Soon as we hit Mattapan Square, everything tensed up, right? And it was like, what the fuck, right? And then took the fish home, boom, cleaned it up. Then we just went out, just chilling, doing our 1, 2, you know, meeting our friends, meeting girls on the walls, hanging out, dudes or whoever, they smoke weed, I drank beer. So we had to do all that stuff before we got home, because we went home drunk with weed on our body and liquor on our breath. That was a ass whooping. Right? I don't care. All that street shit, fighting boy, you didn't do that when you came around your mom and daddy, because you know what time it was, right?
What time it
so
was.
so we all, all of us did the same thing.
Yeah.
We all knew what time. Okay, we'll do this until like about
3 o'clock. Mom's gonna be home.
Yeah. I gotta be home at 6 o'clock. 7 o'clock. We do all that we do all that madness. Okay, we gotta be home at 7 o'clock. And everybody's like, yo, I gotta go. So everybody just dispersed. And all of us in the crib about 7:30 before 8. You know what I mean? So, no alcohol on our breath, no nothing. Moms don't smell nothing. They think we were just out playing sports and at the arcade game, at the arcade store. So it was cool. So I bring those things back to mind, and I say to myself, like, damn, we society had changed us, man, in ways that we didn't ask for.
Yeah.
And it played a major role in my development as growing into a adult, from a beginning stage positive to the middle stage negative, and to the third phase pretty much, man, reversing back to where I started my journey, in a peaceful state, happy state, loving state. So it's a process that you go through. It's what I call purification, bro. It's purification. You gotta go through a purification, man. And the purification is, you're gonna go through all the things that made you what you were, and all the things that's gonna make you what you are.
Mm-hmm. Word. So, like, what advice could you give to someone that's been changed by society and that didn't want this change to occur, and now they're in their 20s and whatnot? Like, what message you have for them, and like, what could you say to them?
So, on a positive level, change, or on a negative level, change?
Like, for example, like on a negative, like, for example, like, someone that had to sell like drugs because someone influenced them in the wrong way, or whatever the situation
So again,
is.
that all stemmed from the person you want to impress and the person you want to be like, because that person had all the things and got all the girls and all the accolades that came with that world, so you want to emulate that person. So that's what all that stemmed from. That's pretty much that's what all that stemmed from. So when you like, for instance, you understand it.
Yeah.
Now, I understand it, right? You have to show a person the 3 things that comes with that. The 3 things that come with that: death, prison, and addiction. Them 3 doors never close. Them doors is open all day long, 24/7. So once when you figure this out, man, and once you understand, you should be able to relay and communicate with young people, elderly, all that, who want to do these things, and they only done these things and was doing these things because of they liked it, what they were seeing. They liked it, what was people saying about them, and all the people that were saying these things about them, and was the people who was into that kind of world. But now, if you go to your grandmother, your mother, your father, be like, you know what they're gonna be saying about it. They just destroying the neighborhood. Oh, they ain't no good. They need to be in jail. They this and they that. So because that person brought all the negative, all the BS, all the madness around everyone else. But that problem would fall back on this street here, because At the end of the day, can't nobody walk on this street and decide to open up three houses and sell drugs on this street here without, everybody putting in it, saying to themselves, well, it doesn't affect me, I don't care. Next thing you know, the person who said that, their whole house is strung out on drugs. A drug dealer can't make you buy his drugs. A drug dealer can't do nothing to you. Only thing he can do is sell his drugs. You got to go to the drug dealer, or you got to go to the stick-up kid or whoever to figure out how to stick up this person, or stick up the store, and all this stuff there, right? Everything falls on you, right? In the community. So if the community say no, then that's it. It's no, ain't nothing happening. It's the same with you, man. You got to just like, determine like, you know what? I'm not doing this crap. I'm not bringing nobody else down to bring myself up, man. I'm gonna get me a job. I'm gonna work. I'm gonna do this here because it's I don't gotta worry about this. I ain't gotta worry about that. I ain't gotta worry about being robbed. I ain't gotta worry about going to jail. I ain't gotta worry about being put under the ground. I ain't gotta worry about none of these things, right? The only thing I need to worry about is making sure my kid in school and making sure I need to do what I need to do to make sure my child is in school and well taken care of. So, those are things, man. That's the thing, man, that people need to like really understand, man. It doesn't, ain't no money in the world is worth to destroy your own peoples, bro.
No money in the world.
No money in the world.
Can't switch on my people for no money, no girl, no fame, no clout.
I'd rather be a broke person picking cans than to bring that kind of shame and madness to any community that I'm in. But what you have to understand is when a person don't have humanity, right? He or she is not going to see that, understand that. Because either they lost their humanity or they was raised with none, right? Meaning they, again, primal. Their household was governed by primal instinct. Survival of the fittest. So when you raised like that, you don't have the same values that the next person have. So what happens? That person have to learn those traits. They have to learn about humanity. They have to be put in situations to understand and feel what humanity is. That's something that can't be taught. You can't teach a person how to, have humanity. You can't teach someone that. That's something they got to be born with, raised in the nurturing home to understand that. If there wasn't, if none of those things took place, how can you deal with anybody who don't care? It's all about them and what they can get. That's a no-win. That's a no-win situation. Trying to deal with a person like that. That person have to wake up on his own terms, or have something drastic had to happen to that person to get in touch with that side of him or her that they probably never knew about, or knew about, threw it to the wayside because they felt this is the only way to survive.
How'd you survive like depression, like being in prison?
Family, man. Like I said, family. The older guys that was in there that nurtured me with education.
So give people like a little description of like at what age you went in, when did you get released?
I was like 17, 18. I came home. I ended up getting out when I was about like 40 something, and
so how long ago was that?
Actually, I just came home not too long ago, but it was a situation where someone lied us had going through a window, some craziness, and I'm at my company. I got video show. I never was in this place near the city area, right? And so I had to go sit for about a year. Was found not guilty in less than 5 seconds, right? So I had to pick up the pieces all over again because I almost lost my business, lost contracts over a lie. So I end up in a place like that, man. It was hard, bro. It was very hard because I went in where it was like murder was was like uh, uh, the thing, right? Sauce was like the thing, man.